on TPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast.
As you walk around, holding the phone up in front of your face to navigate, you turn a corner or something there in your apartment, through your phone screen is a horrifying apparition.
This Friday, Tony brings a story about Night Terror, an augmented reality game that makes your house appear haunted. After the break, V brings an equally creepy story to the table about Google's neural network and its recent creation of some original artwork. Somebody find Steve Beck because this is the Technophiles 251st episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am here tonight with the regular cast, Miss Krista Lee Malone, Tony Stiglich, and V Lobs. Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm well. I don't know.
Good.
Just good. I like these Friday episodes. They're good. Just chill. Actually, tonight may be not chill based on our topics. We've got a crazy brain story from V Lobs, and we've got a spooky, scary
chilling?
Story. What's that?
Would it be chilling instead?
It could be chilling. Tony Stiglich, let's get right into it. Who cares? You guys, your weeks were fine?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. We did like 20 minutes of intro on the last episode, so I think we'll just get right into it here for this one. Tony, you found a story that you submitted on you found it on io9.com, and the headline here is Nightmare Video Game Turns Your House into a Horror Movie. Do tell.
Yes, so this was actually an article I found quite a while ago. It's from April, the end of April. And it's about an Indiegogo, which is now unfortunately closed, but funded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't make it. End of story.
Oh.
No,
All right, on to the break, Act 2.
Well, it may not have been fully funded. I believe they're still moving.
But it seems like it's still happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing with
So there's a
Indiegogo.
game called...
There's a game called Night Terror.
Not Night Trap, huh?
Not
Nope,
trap.
Night Terrors.
It'd be a very different phone game.
Callback.
Yay.
The idea behind it is an augmented reality game that you would play on your phone. It only works at night. So you turn it on and it essentially maps your house, and as you walk around holding the phone up in front of your face to navigate, the storyline is that you have to, I think, rescue a small girl that's somewhere in your house from various ghosts and sundry spirits and things.
Yes.
So as you turn a corner or something there in your apartment, through your phone screen...
Yeah, using your phone as a viewfinder almost.
Yeah, it is a horrifying apparition that may or may not attack you.
Which is, mind you, your phone, we should point out, is showing your house, and composited into that is the game universe, you could say.
Yes, that's correct. It uses your phone to make a full map of your house as you walk around. It can also do things. This was the coolest thing to me is in the video it shows that it will read like a painting on your wall. And in your phone, it will make that painting sort of crash down and fall to the ground. And so you follow it, and then you come back up, and your painting's still there. So it can actually interact with the things in your household through the viewfinder.
Correct. It might have an image of a ghost or a 3D model of a spook or a ghoul or something that it composites in, which is awesome and scary in itself. But it does, when it can, extract some, sprites or bitmaps or whatever off of your real world, puts them back into the game universe, and then manipulates them.
Yes. Yeah, which is super creepy and awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it sort of will keep track of where you are in your house, and also like if it decides to place some sort of ghost, say on the other side of the wall of you. If it's in your bedroom but you're out in the hallway, the audio will actually sound as though it is through a wall to that side. So you'd almost want to play it with headphones or whatever the best sort of immersive thing is. So it's all directionally correct too. It keeps track of all that.
And I just have to say real quick, this is such a brilliant, whether it's an accident or not, this is such a brilliant concept, because a horror game or a suspense game like this, you're probably supposed to walk down that hallway the first time and have nothing happen.
Right.
Unbeknownst to the player, it's using all that to collect its data and map its little models when to do the real spooks and scares.
Yep.
So it perfectly aligns itself with
the arc of how
an arc of tension
horror,
and stuff. Anyway,
just like PT, where the first time down the hallway,
like
it's all
let's say it was a game where it's like takes your hallway and turns it into Mario Brothers. I don't think that would work as well. This is like perfectly applied. You know, if I may,
it can just ramp it up from there.
Mm-hmm.
It really markets on that. I don't know about you guys, but I have like this I have a bad imagination when it's dark in my apartment, where I'm like, something's gonna jump out of the window at me right now. Like if it gets too late, I just get weird.
Or hallways that just get a little too long.
Yeah, it just worries me. I'm like, I don't know what's on the other side of my door right now, and it's way too quiet here. It's wigging me out. My roommates have a cardboard standee of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory that sits in our living room constantly, and sometimes when I come home, I'll turn the lights on in there and be like, "Rah!" Or like the wind will move it or something, and it scares the crap
When I lived in
out of
Chicago, I was in a townhouse that was pretty long, and just the way it worked out, there was not a hallway, but basically a hallway that went all the way down the whole thing. So you could see the front living room all the way through like a little hallway and then into a kitchen. So if you were in the kitchen or even in the dining room, you always had your like sensors could never quite go all the way down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
It was spooky. But anyway.
And in this case, you would actually hear something that is computer sort of placed to be in that room.
So I want to point something out too. There's been augmented reality games ever since gyroscopes got put in phones. Like the 3GS, the iPhone 3GS had a few kind of crappy augmented reality, like shoot the alien games and stuff like that.
Ghostbusters had one, and
it did. You're right. Yeah, and they were okay, and that's fine. Most of the time, that's not usually using your environment too much. You know what I mean? It's not being that aware of your mind.
It's just like you're looking through your camera. Game. It's like, I'm catching a camera outside by my pool.
Exactly. And then there was a game, I think that V, you might know more about this, or Crystal, you might as well. There was a game that I think was marketed with the first 3DS, and it was an augmented game, and it was like a ghost hunting game, and you'd play it with your 3DS, and you'd walk around your own house and try to catch ghosts in your house.
Sounds familiar.
But of course, that game didn't. The reason I want to bring that up is I think that game exists. I don't remember its name, but what this game is doing that's taking it a step further, and I want to be clear about this, even though we already have been, is that the game is intelligently designing itself around. It's very much being aware of the house it's in, right?
Yeah. It can manipulate individual objects to heighten that. It's not just pasting something over what's already there.
Correct.
Yeah. Were you thinking of Nintendo Spirit Camera, The Cursed Memoir?
Yes, I think I was. Thank you, fact checker.
No, but it sounds interesting.
So this is phenomenal.
There's another one also called The Hidden.
For the 3DS?
The 3DS, I believe.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it was a Nintendo marketed one, but yeah.
I mean, there's also sort of narrative precedent with this. So the first thing I thought about was the little loved and little remembered horror movie, I think it's from the early 2000s, sometimes called 13 Ghosts. And the premise was they had all of them locked. It's sort of the basis, or one of the movies they make fun of in Scary Movie 2, if that sort of gives anyone
I remember Scary Movie 2, yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is that they have 13 ghosts locked in these cages down in the basement.
I remember this
And then
movie.
they have to put on these special glasses to see them. But then they all escape and yada yada.
I remember that movie now.
But that's essentially what you're doing here. Or like They Live, sort of that same sort of thing. Like you need the special spectacles or whatever to
Do you have
be
to get in
able
a
to
30-minute fight with Roddy Piper in order to play it, though?
Only if you're Keith David.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
But, I mean, so there's already this sort of cultural... Like, we've seen movies that do the same thing of like, oh, you need this special lens to see the danger. And now you're actually bringing that to the forefront.
To your house where you sleep in the dark.
Yes, imagine turning the corner to your bedroom late at night.
It's one of the first things I thought of when I was watching the YouTube video here, which we'll tweet a link out, and maybe we'll put a link to it on our website, technophilespodcast.com, was, holy smokes, this thing is begging to be on the HoloLens.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be too much.
It might be too much.
Yeah.
You're like, no! That would be 13 ghosts, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah. I gotta say too, because you mentioned how like the goal is you save this small child that's in your house.
Yeah, there's like a child that's kidnapped, and you have to avoid the ghosts and find her.
So I'm thinking it's probably because I saw Children of the Corn before I was old enough to, but like children in movies will creep me out.
That's scarier than the ghost.
Yes.
Yeah, you hear the child wailing.
I'm fine with the ghoul. I don't need the child.
Yeah, you hear a child screaming in fear, and your first.
I want to
It's
run
not
away.
like, I need to go to that. Yeah.
Like, no, my
go to the
first
opposite
thought
side of the
is,
house.
When I get to the child, it's going to like hang me on a cornstalk and have like white hair or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like the ghost would scare me, yes, but having me go to something that I also find scary is going to just be. I think I would flip out in the middle of my house and not be able to continue.
Sure.
Yeah.
So is there word on like when this comes out or anything?
No, there's no word after. So the Indiegogo was like about 2/3 funded by the time it was over, but there's no word necessarily on how they're going to move forward.
Yeah, on Indiegogo, I believe you do get to keep the funds.
It's true.
Yeah.
So they might make something or find some sort of way to kind of complete that goal.
Yeah, and as it
Well, they've raised 46,000.
Yeah. So as it gets, I mean, as things get cheaper and all that, I mean, even if this specific game doesn't go through, someone's going to pick this up and run with
First
it.
line in their Indiegogo is, "Our aim is to create the scariest game ever made." Okay.
It's a good goal.
Transforms your
Lofty.
environment into a terrifying hellscape. Yeah.
I love it.
Sign me up.
Yes,
Right.
100%. I want that.
So even if this one never comes to fruition, I mean, this is sort of that proof of, no, I don't want to say proof of concept, but this is coming. It's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I'm so excited.
yeah,
I want to play it. I want to try it. Maybe not in my apartment because I will relive the jump scares and everything for the rest of my life, but
I would have the hardest apartment ever to win at this game.
Because you don't have many
Because
hallways?
I live in a studio.
Oh.
So I would either win immediately or
just be
lose
stuck.
immediately. Or just be surrounded by every
You'd
ghost
just be
in
turning
the
around,
game.
"No,
Yeah,
no."
exactly.
This is what it would be. No. Okay, found her.
Yep.
And just spinning around. And say, okay, found her.
me.
Yeah,
So
it wouldn't be real
here's
challenging.
what we do. Like, have you guys come over to my house. I live with my parents. We got a good 3 stories. It's
true.
huge.
Ooh.
Part of it's open, but then when you go upstairs, you have more of the hallway with the closed doors.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Because
not
I kind
bad.
of want to play it, but I don't want to play alone.
If this thing
But
exists for real, we'll
Right.
try to do it. Maybe we can use your folks' house. I'm not joking.
They-
They're going to be fine with it, I'm sure.
They would be fine. I mean, they might tease a little because they're not into games, but that's their thing when I have friends over.
We'll say,
They
this
tease
isn't
a
a game,
little
this is an
bit,
experience.
and then they leave us alone.
Yeah,
So,
but even if you're not into games, this isn't a game based around the narrative. I think there's such a visceral
You just experience it.
fear to this
Yeah.
that anyone can understand
It's like
why
a
that would be
thrill.
terrifying.
Yeah, what's
But
up?
here's what's going to make it better. I have a black cat that can be running around the house while we play.
I wonder if it could manipulate the cat.
I
Say
was
if the
just
cat's
wondering if the
sleeping
Cat
or
falls through the
something.
ground, you're like, no, I'm done.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I was wondering what it would do for people. Like, does it make people look scary?
If you had other people in there?
Yeah, because I already.
It didn't show.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
to see. This game, we'll have to keep an eye on it.
I would imagine it's designed to be played alone because that would be more scary.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, for people
Exploring,
like
going through haunted houses with friends.
Novum
Right.
Analytics, is that the company that's doing it?
Yes, I believe so. It's a place out of Kansas City. Yes, Novum Analytics.
So I always like going through spooky
Let me
stuff
see if
with
I can find a
friends.
Twitter account or something.
Yeah.
Crack jokes.
Yeah, maybe we can have a little follow-up if we talk to these guys or something.
I hope it
perhaps.
happens because it sounds like so much fun. One thing that I haven't talked about yet that has been interesting to me is on the news. Night Terror's augmented reality game. We are currently building out our full website. Please visit Indigo page for more information. And it's just their YouTube videos on their website.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope this does happen.
Or someone else picks
And if
up
it
the ball.
doesn't, this concept is there. I think we can finish talking about this by bringing up this point. On the newscast about a year ago, Sean Kerr actually talked about there's a new. Well, back then there was a new Samsung phone that was using some Android software to use. It was using normal cameras, infrared cameras, and a couple like 3D cameras to record your entire room. And you could actually move your phone around and then create 3D models of your room or other things and stuff like that. And we thought that was really cool because we were thinking even back then, like, oh, you could use augmented reality games or applications for this. If this Night Terrors game does come to be, it's kind of cool. I'm inferring that or I'm deducing that they're able to do all of that just with software, not tons of hardware. I think that's what that's what could be exciting about this.
Yeah, there is a section in the video where they sort of briefly discuss how it maps out your area.
So like, you have infrared 3D cameras, that's almost literally feeling the room. This is, I hope, a single camera that is reading perspective lines and deducing math and all that kind of stuff. Yep. At least as much as it needs to. That's the nice thing about ghost games too, is it doesn't have to exactly line up.
Yeah,
right.
That's part of the terror, is that it doesn't make sense.
You know what I mean?
No clipping.
There's a good ghosts don't clip, right?
It can come, it can ride through your wall. No,
we all saw Ghost Dad. All right, let's go to break, and we'll come back and talk about Google doing crazy neural network stuff.
Yeah, this is also a little bit creepy. So.
All right, fantastic. Nice little creepy show here for the middle of July.
Really getting in the mood of the season.
The season. 4th of July is over. I'm ready for Halloween.
It's time. We're gearing up. All right, guys, I'll see you in like 30 seconds. I'm going to use some old-fashioned chords here, which you might recognize, and try to sing about this app. Here we go. It uses augmented reality. I might have said that. I can't remember. All right. Why don't we go into your home? It's okay, I have my iPhone. Now you know we'll look for those ghosts, and when we find them, we'll probably get really scared. But it's really okay, you don't have to worry, because they're not really real. In fact, they are just augmented reality. Now let's just find the little girl who hides. When we find her, we'll all be safe. Augmented reality. It is so fun, you see, pictures in your house fall into the depths of eternity. I think we'll stop it right there. All right, we are back from the break. Yeah, that happened.
Bunch of jokesters.
Tony just told a joke right as we were coming in.
Yeah.
So we're on a very good mood.
One of the oldest jokes
in the book. Look at that! Look at that smile on his face right now.
He's so proud.
He is very pleased.
He's beaming right
now. You really just throw out so many dumb comments, and then one of them hits, and it makes it all worth it. It really just drives the rest of the stupid jokes that I make.
You gotta just lean that way a little bit to show show the camera.
Tony, I think I'm gonna throw that in the outtakes. His joke.
All right, here we go. Knows what we're talking about.
I know, it's true. We'll throw it in the outtakes. Artificial neural networks.
Yeah, they exist. They're a thing. This is an article from Gizmodo. They explained it really, really well. It's some high-tech stuff that Google's working on. I don't know if you guys have heard about the artificial neural network that Google has been playing with the past few months.
No, I haven't.
You haven't, because this is the first time I've heard of it, too.
Whoa,
and it's actually really interesting. Gizmodo really does a good job of kind of putting it into layman's terms, but the article on Google Research's blog is also really, really just fascinating.
We'll try to have links to both in our show notes then.
Yeah, it's a good one for a slow read.
Awesome.
Yeah. So basically,
on a lazy Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Glass of lemonade.
Yeah.
Why do you sound like old Greg? Do you love me? All right. It's all right.
Right.
Tony's hot. He's on a roll.
You just can't stop him.
Okay, sorry, V.
Unbelievable.
I'm done.
You want to take the story?
Cutting it off?
Yeah, Tony, why don't you tell us about this?
Cutting it off.
No, okay, so V. So artificial neural network.
Artificial neural network.
It can daydream.
It can daydream. So the way the network works is it's basically like a simulated, neural network like humans do, where they break up different processes into different nodes in the network. I'm not sure if it's actually if it's a hardware thing or a software thing, but the process is a lot different than your like regular kind of programming.
I'm gonna guess software, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's the article where they described that on Google's blog was a lot more heavy. But the way this network has been learning how to identify pictures and things. And the way it does this is that there's multiple layers of interpretation. They've been feeding it pictures. So the first layer will look at a picture and identify edges of things.
Sure.
And then the next few layers will figure out the shapes of other things. And then the last few are the ones where it interprets it. It creates a complete interpretation of identifying the object. So, maybe the first layer finds the edges of a fork, and then the next layer finds like the shapes of the fork that make it a fork, like the body of it, the
layer
four
of
times.
processing, right?
Yeah. And then the final layer is like, a fork is a handle with a thing that has 4 tines on it.
Starts to contextualize it a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then bing, it's a fork. And they show like very base levels of identification in photos where it's like, all right, horse, person, helmet, bus, light post, car, and that like that. But now they're giving it the ability to kind of create images or to see what it sees, like to understand how it interprets. What they have been doing is they show it a bunch of pictures of animals and bananas and measuring cups and stuff, and then they give it a small picture of noise, and they say, take this, make a banana. And then it makes this weird kind of psychedelic tiled banana,
right.
or like ants or starfish, and it looks, it's like a rainbow of color, but it looks like a starfish.
Yeah, a lot of the core mechanics or shapes are there.
Yeah, they're all there. Like that's
enough that a human can recognize it, I'd say.
But what this does is that if you give it something more abstract, like they gave it a picture of a cloud, and it daydreams. It does what kids do when they look at clouds, where it's like it
tries to turn
shapes.
it into something.
It turns it into something. It uses that process of creating an image by taking that original image and then warping it to see what it sees. It enhances certain layers. So like the interpretation layer is enhanced. You can enhance the edges layer. There's a picture of 2 gazelles where like the first one, it's a regular picture of gazelles, and then the second one is the edges process enhanced, and you just see all the lines and stuff. But what's been really picking up is what they called I think it's inceptionization or something like that.
Inceptionism.
There it is.
Thank
Yes.
you. Where they enhance those final steps of interpretation, where it takes the photo, and then so for the clouds thing, it sees dogs, it sees snails, it sees like pigs or birds or camels, and it creates it in that image out of like abstract shapes. And some of that, it's really successful. Like it's an actual dog, it'll be like, yeah, it's a dog, but then you'll see like smaller dogs inside of the dog.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets so.
It's weird.
It gets really. It gets really trippy.
Wow.
It also loves dogs for some reason. It finds dogs in almost everything.
I was going to make the comment. It does seem to be very animal heavy.
Yeah, and I think that's
that just because of what we're taking pictures of, or
it's not what we're doing. It's what Google's researchers are giving it.
Okay,
so it
maybe
takes
they're mostly
those
giving
image
it
and it adds to that database of what it knows. Like this is what a dog looks like, and it just. I guess it favors it because there's so many dogs. There's so many different types of dogs.
That could be.
Well, and a lot of these are faces, so I didn't know if it has something to do with. Oh, it sees eyes.
I was thinking
so
that too a little
bit.
The amount of detail or complexity that's in any animal's face is probably more than the complexity of like the face of a building or something like that, or a pier or a car. I think organic stuff. We don't even realize it anymore because we just have our brains just, you know what I mean? But I would imagine that there's more detail there, so maybe it's leaning towards that. Or it could just be a statistical thing where they're just showing it more pictures of animals, and that's what it's building off of.
It's like borderline art almost, because you could make this in Photoshop, but it would take forever because they're so like abstract and weird, the results that come out of this thing. And Google's actually like taking the algorithm of like the daydreaming and made it available online. And there's certain websites, and I tried going to them, but they're like shifting servers right now, where you can, plug in your own photo and get like the dreamified version out of it. And some of them are really cool, like the ones you see here on the Gizmodo article.
Yeah.
But most unsettling is that it likes eyes in whatever iteration of the algorithm that Google made available. In that, like it sees a person's face, but it sees the skin, and it's like, oh, an eye goes there, and eye goes there, and 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 everywhere, and there's eyes everywhere.
A lot of eyes.
Really, really creepy. And you found some video versions of it.
What?
You were
Really,
showing
Tony?
us earlier, or the GIFs.
Right? Yeah. Well, no, it's a full video actually. I stumbled across this just right before I came over.
Organically, not from the notes.
Not from the notes at all. Because somebody uploaded a clip from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is a movie about acid trips, into a system that essentially produces visual, I guess, acid trips. But it's
I think there are similar aesthetics.
Kind of terrifying,
I would assume.
Right, like that's the thing. I can't speak from experience, but it's
the way acid trips are often portrayed in art
layman,
forms.
Yes.
This seems to be similar.
Yes.
So it's almost inceptioning the acid trip.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, there's also
in more ways than one.
There's been some comments on these articles where it's like, oh yeah, this is totally what my acid trip is like, and then there's other people that are like, no, this is not what.
They got this all wrong.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's
so
fine.
what? So you found some gifts though, and so there. So we were talking about images. Are we to assume that they've had every frame of this video? They've done this process to this.
I don't know. There's a link that just says you can now upload videos or GIFs through it.
Got it.
I imagine it just breaks it down into frame by frame,
Yeah.
because I've seen people do that manually with content aware in Photoshop to make it really like deranged and glitchy and warped and stuff like that. It's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that like it draws on its vocabulary to just kind of complete photos and things like that. I'm wondering what application.
Can they ever ask it to
possibly
draw
have.
something from nothing?
No, I don't think it necessarily has an imagination. I think
They can't say, you've looked at 100 dogs, draw a dog.
Yeah, I bet it would. Because that's what it does with the bananas and the measuring cups and things like that.
Okay.
I mean, it like spits it out. It needs something to work with, where it's like it takes that noise graphic where it's just nothing, and it says, take this, see a dog, and it's like, all right, and it pushes all the noise around until it becomes a dog.
This says like kind of way down in the article that Google can generate images of certain objects.
So far,
maybe it's ones they've
getting there.
Already been trained. Like if they've already been trained in what dogs look like, maybe it can do dogs. But if you then turn around and say like, make a person, you're gonna get a dog.
Here's 300 dogs. Draw a dinosaur.
Dog.
Wow, we never realized the Tyrannosaurus Rex was a schnauzer.
It's so cute and furry. Oh my goodness.
So is it sort of making something out of nothing already? You use the cloud example, which really is just taking a sort of amorphous, we'll say polygon, and creating these sort of vast, odd interpretations of that. Is that making something out of nothing though, or is it still almost a filter? Yeah,
like it's just a really, really complicated filter.
Right? Is it just an algorithm, or
it's tough to say. It's a little bit of a super complicated algorithm, in my opinion. I work with Photoshop. I'm a graphic designer, and there's always, it's like a real pet peeve to see. Sometimes you see some students just use some filters, and you're like, oh my god, no! That is, like, look at my art. It's like, no, you clicked 4 buttons. You know what I mean? But there are some filters in Photoshop that you can actually do you can create things out of nothing, but sometimes you do need to start with some noise to do that. And you can be tweaking settings and doing things like that. Perhaps this algorithm does not have an initial like draw the vectors part to it yet. Okay. But if you throw some paint on the canvas, so to speak, it can move that stuff around, is what it feels like.
Exactly.
So I think I would still kind of count that as creation a little bit. You're just putting the...
So at what point
metaphorically, you're putting the paint on the canvas for it to use. I don't know.
At what point do we say the computer is making art?
I would...
I'm sort of leading you there.
I know. Because
this
whole computer art thing, almost 10 years ago, computers were already like, look, it can paint. Look, you say paint an elephant, and it uses like image, and it'll use vectors and stuff.
This is a new interpretation.
But it's not creating it. Right, it's not.
This is essentially like a girl talk album.
So this is what I'm...
Yeah.
Oh my God. Things, but
so if it was a girl talk,
so
something like girl talk, the art of it is the expression, is the reinterpretation. It is not necessarily the creation. And people can disagree with me, but I'm just kind of just using broad strokes here.
Yeah.
That's a conversation.
It's almost more of a... Girl talk is almost more of a... Not a performance art, but almost more of a philosophical art than it is like...
Okay.
I'm writing a symphony. No. I'm gonna dig myself into a hole.
Yeah, it's not like a...
You know what I mean?
But
because technically, at its most extreme, someone can go sit in an intersection for 5 hours, and that's art because it's elicited a reaction from people.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I'll dial it back here. I personally would be excited to call it art if the computer was also choosing to make those initial strokes, deducing its own strokes initially.
Okay.
I would be excited if that were the case. I think that's not exactly the case here yet, but I think I would also recognize this to be, it's like the world's most intelligent filter, but there's something to be said for that. It's not dumb. It's not a dumb filter. There's a lot of filters out there that are dumb filters.
Yeah. It's a lot more complex than your average Photoshop filter, definitely, because it's being developed by Google. It's interesting to me that it's the interpretation that it's giving that becomes the art.
I mean, even in Photoshop, there's reasons why you have blur and smart blur.
Yeah.
Like smart blur starts to deduce edges and things like that, and you have this noise and smart noise, and this is really just like super smart.
Yeah.
Filled paintbrush strokes or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if
phenomenal.
it's completely wrong, it makes art, that's kind of the appeal here, is that it just draws some weird
let's do this
ideas.
If I, for example, still own my art gallery, I would not be uncomfortable doing an exhibit of this work.
But the intention is there that I think is not there with the
I agree.
algorithm.
Would you call that an exhibit by Google?
Well, see, now we're kind of getting into
lie?
the Google Smart Car legal stuff, and is Google making this? Because this is a larger conversation which we can have at another time, but we can scrape the surface right now if we want. But now we're getting into like the God metaphors. So is Google creating this art, or is the algorithms creating the art? Well, Google's creating the algorithms to deduce it on its own. If you dial that back one more notch, it's the way people might discuss certain religions and stuff, and it gets really weird fast when you're using these parallels.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's an answer to that yet, but if you guys want to make some comments on it, I'm open to the conversation.
My job here is just to lead everyone down the rabbit hole and then watch us all try and scramble back out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, I'm not sure what I would say to that, which is why I asked. I was curious what you would say. Because, so I think my first inclination is to say, well, the developer or developers that came up with it, okay? But then if you take something which I would say is not all that similar, they're talking about teaching a machine. Well, do I get credit if one of my students writes something really awesome? Well, not so much. I might get a thank you, right? Yeah. Like we have the attribution page. But that would be about it.
I think I have an answer. And this goes back to, I have a quick little thing that I touched on very quickly a year or so ago on, I think, the newscaster, this show.
Real quick.
We had a silly story about the monkey that got the rights to the photo it took. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh.
All right.
Well, sort of.
I'll dial this in. Here we go. Let's do this.
No,
I think we could all agree here tonight. And people are welcome to agree or disagree. That's part of the cool thing about talking about this kind of stuff. But I think we could wrap our heads around the idea that as long as the entity that's creating it is definitively conscious, however we define that, then it is that. Then that thing made it. If this algorithm, if we cannot define it to be conscious, I think then Google made it, because that's how Google is treating the self-driving cars. They're saying we're responsible, even though that code is doing its own thing. And then to contrast that, there was like a really weird story in the news about a monkey that took a picture, and then like legally that monkey owned that picture because another guy was trying to sell it, make much money, but it was conscious. They deemed, as silly as this might be, they deemed that was a conscious living being.
Yeah.
Now it didn't understand the context of what it was doing.
Right.
So that even got gray from the other end.
Yeah.
But I think I'm kind of making the point here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Siri owns the art.
So I don't think we could, if we were doing Turing test stuff, I don't think Siri would be conscious. No. Not at all yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
But here's the question that I keep thinking about this whole time. And this is sort of silly, but I don't know, maybe not. So when the robots take over and we're all in the Matrix, is it going to look like one of these M.C. Escher drawings
it could.
I'm looking at? And I'm thinking like...
Is that how it sees?
Well, remember when they were eating the...
Tasty
mush?
wheat.
Yeah. The tasty wheat, thank you.
Yep.
And they're like, well, everything tastes like chicken.
Right.
I'm like, well, is everything...
So
everything's interpreted as dogs. It's just
switch. Like that maybe that software, like I don't know, because some things are just gonna be abstract to robots, and they'll just have to interpret it as something.
I'm making this up as I go, and I don't have any large implications to it, but consider that what this thing might be... This is dangerous space.
All right.
Consider it as a thought experiment.
Okay.
Yes.
What this thing might be imagining right now might be what a not fully formed brain is imagining, like when we're still developing.
Just weird interpretation.
We haven't figured out all the details
out the
yet.
edges,
or maybe already born, but still just...
Yeah. That's
you see where I'm going with this? You have some data and maybe the dreams of an infant baby. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, it's like the layers of the neural network. It is
now an infant baby is more conscious than this algorithm.
Right. Yeah, but like when you're a stupid kid, when you're a little baby, you are interpreting and like that middle layer of like shapes. Edges of things. You don't have interpretation
if this algorithm looks at 100 dogs and then all of a sudden everything is dogs, perhaps a 9-month baby still in the womb is creating things with what it's hearing or feeling in the same kind of metaphor. See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
This is weird though.
I know. Let's push it a little further.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
Let's see. How much time we got? We can do it. We got about 5 minutes left.
Let's go.
Let's talk about it in these words. Let's say this is the perception of this algorithm. Mm-hmm. So therefore it is the reality for that algorithm, because you only know reality through your own perceptions. All right, perceptions is reality. We cannot even be certain that the 5 of us in this room
it's true
are experiencing the same reality. We can't know that this computer is not interpreting things correctly.
Well, the question is, what is correctly?
Yes.
Well, and that's the point.
Now we're
because
getting...
perception is reality, right? So this...
Yeah, but I think we can deduce a certain amount of variables that we would agree are consistent.
Yes,
and measure them quantifiably to what's going on in this algorithm, I think. And that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I don't
think
the thing that I can't understand is why does this image taste like chicken?
But it's not. We can agree on the extremes, but then it's more of a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now take for example, I have a lot of trouble distinguishing dark colors. They all look black, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a problem when I go clothes shopping with like other. Well,
are you like black, blues, and greens mix kind of thing? Blacks and blues.
Yeah. Blacks, blues, if it's a really dark purple, I didn't realize navy blue was a color until I was in middle school and somebody broke it down and explained it. Now I can't see navy blue.
Yeah.
So I have this abstract idea of it, right? But I literally can't see it, right? So I mean this is just kind of an example of when you have this perception. The reality for me is that all of these things are black. I perceive them as black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe, Google's kind of like just starting on the outside and moving in, whereas we kind of start on this inside where we have these, we can agree that, this is this and this is that, but then as you move into the more details, we might start disagreeing. Mm-hmm. Google's just starting on the outside, moving
now
in
here's
this
so to that, and then I think we'll wrap this up to that also. I think none of us can disagree with you, obviously, with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. What I might propose is you have enough context and millions of other parts of your intelligence that are informing you that you don't know the difference between navy blue and black because of the other data you've taken in. I don't think that this algorithm is at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Not yet.
yeah.
But
that little sliver of you, is it similar, perhaps?
why it could probably
Tony.
get there. Right, Tony?
Tony's
You're
just
going to
looking
agree
at
with
me.
me.
This is what... Oh, I do agree with you. I'm all on board. I'm just going to say, this is what they get for saying that a computer's daydreaming. We're going to go into the...
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Though we should get going.
Yeah.
People can think about this throughout the rest of the weekend.
Look at more pictures of it.
If you have any
Like, they're
thoughts or
amazing.
debate, if you want to debate with us, leave something in the comments down below or tweet us at Technophiles Pod. Now, Krista Lee, I'm very excited because on Monday you're doing your first newscast.
Right.
Because she's a regular cast member now, she's going to be doing newscasts with us.
Cha-cha-cha.
Which should be very, very cool. Do you have any idea what you might talk about yet? You may not.
I do have a couple ideas.
Yeah?
But I was gonna.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to tell,
No
or you want to just
spoilers.
tease something
Are
that
you
you might
serious?
talk about.
Let's
don't have
just
to.
put it this way: I am a Star Trek nerd.
All right, I can't
All
wait.
right.
Ooh, I can't
All right.
wait.
That was like a really good tease. I like it.
Fantastic. Cool,
All
cool,
right.
cool. Well, until then, that's just a couple days away. Until then, people can tweet you at
Gamer Anthro.
Fantastic. And Tony, people can find you on Twitter at
I'm at Tony_Stig.
Miss Vlogs.
You can find me at bear_Annika.
But your name on Twitter is CMYK Punk. It is like
It's
impossible to
yeah,
find
I'm
you.
sorry. You can do the thing where you change your names or whatever. CMYK Punk's my like stupid fan art name.
Or if you're looking for any of our Twitter accounts, you can go to the bottom of our website, technophilespodcast.com, where we have a list, a live strolling stream of all of our tweets.
See my selfies.
Down
See
at the
me complain
bottom.
About pro wrestling.
Yeah, sometimes you fill that thing up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Mondays are big for that.
It's just like this. It's like click, 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 click. I'm like, how is she typing that fast? How is she doing it?
Talking into my phone.
It's crazy. That's what it is.
No.
Please tweet. Yeah. Please tweet. Oh, I can't believe it. Please tweet. Oh, I'm sorry.
Please tweet.
That's good.
That's
I'm sorry, V. I can't spell. I don't know what you. I can't find.
Just mash the keyboard for me.
Mash the keyboard. Love it. People can tweet the show at Technophiles Pod, like I said, or they can find us on Facebook and iTunes by searching Technophiles, or go to our actual website, the Technophiles Podcast, where they can find show notes to this episode, all of our episodes, and some of our other shows. For example, our sibling show, the Technophiles Newscast, which we just talked about, which can be found on YouTube. All right. I guess I'll see you guys on Tuesday. And until then, you can find me, David Geisler, on Twitter at RaptorPaint. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Hey.
See you later.
Bye.
Warmer?
That makes sense.
Well, because
It's
AC
more-
dries out the air.
Right.
And so then that's bad for your vocal cords. In fact, some singers, like there's a couple in particular, I can't remember. There's the one,
Adele
diva,
Dazeem.
whatever. She will not sing if it's an air-conditioned
Place?
place. They have to turn it off.
I believe
What a-
it.
what a diva.
In theater, there's a lot of like leads that'll steam before a
Thank you.
show. They have these little, they'll breathe the steam
Yeah.
Take one
to
from the peanut gallery.
moisten up or whatever.
Well, yeah, but if your
was
voice
that name?
is your
I'm here to
job,
laugh at Tony's jokes.
They laughed at all my dumb
We have a little-
comments.
We have a little
Peanut gallery?
peanut gallery.
Yeah. A little laugh track.
Peanut.
I demand peanuts.
Peanuts must be had.
This gallery is completely empty. I don't often make jokes, but when I do,
Charles Schultz.
dry.
All right.
Let's do it.
One was assaulted.
Oh, that's great! Well, I wasn't listening because I was pushing. We had already started the show here. All right, here we go.
I'll take one.
I'm coming in.
Coming in.
All right, we are back from the break. Yeah, that happened.
Bunch of jokesters.
Tony just told a joke right as we were coming in.
Yeah.
So we're on a very...